Hi everyone, how are you? I am getting ready to start part 27 of our Watts Discovery series. Um, we are going to start on Discovery page 926 and page 815 out of 1960. We're getting ready to start on this affidavit, and I wanted to wait and do this one fresh because I know that there are rumors about this one, so this is how this one started out, okay? Here we go. Starts out as stating it's an affidavit. Okay, affidavit. And it is presented and prepared by Sandra Gironda, Gironda. Says she's age 47, email, blah, 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 post office box, Southern Pines, North Carolina, home and cell. Okay, so this is a nicely written letter, and it says, my personal conversations with Shanann Watts. Our visits include the dates of July 17, 20, 24, and 31, 2018. Okay, so let's think about that. That's when she was in North Carolina, okay? And what it says here is it says, I completely realize that at this time anything I could add is completely hearsay and possibly inadmissible. However, considering what has transpired of late, and per the request of her parents, I am providing parts of my personal conversations with Shanann that I feel may be possibly relevant to the case during the time we shared during her recent trip to North Carolina for consideration in an effort to assist with only what I was made aware of by Shanann. Okay, so once again we have Mama Rue with her hands all over this, saying, here, send this to them, send this to them. What did you do? What did you do? So we've got Mama Rue all over this woman too. So let's see what this woman has to say. Okay. And she goes on to say, I have known Shanann since she was about 15 years old. I met her, and then in parentheses, and her mother, father, and brother when she worked for my family's restaurant as a hostess in Southern Pines. She later worked for our family's second restaurant in Pinehurst in the same capacity. So she was a hostess, okay? We became very close and bonded as close friends during her younger years, easily fast friends. She considered me an elder confidant, and I was more than happy to oblige her when she needed someone to reach out to for advice. We remained friends after her employment in my family's restaurants. Later, I helped her get a job as a waitress where we worked. Okay, I helped her get a job at A1 Wireless where we worked for a short time. Sorry, this is blurry as well. I had not seen her in person since she moved to Colorado. Nonetheless, we kept in touch online during the years. During her recent visit to North Carolina in July 2018, she reached out to me and wanted to spend some time with me one-on-one while she was here. As you can imagine, I was so excited to see her again and the opportunity to finally meet the girls to whom I watched grow online all these years. We set a date for dinner on Tuesday, 7/17/2018. She wanted to have some one-on-one time with me to talk and catch up, and she scheduled her mother to watch the girls during our dinner date. Okay, so Tuesday, 7/17/2018. We met up at my family's restaurant in Southern Pines approximately at 6:30 p.m. We sat on the patio and we had dinner. Conversation started off like any other. We had pleasantries and how good it was to see each other, how much we had missed each other. She appeared to be very happy, absolutely glowing with pregnancy. During our meal, we discussed her family life. She said she was so happy, loved being a mom, wife, and excited in the success of her business and where it was heading. Okay. Conversation, I asked her how her relationship has developed with her mom, particularly now that she was a mom herself. She said that she understands her mother now more than ever. They have always been close. but now closer than ever, and how thankful she was to have a mom like her guiding her through. Then she offered, "My mother in law and sister in law is a different story altogether." Curious and seeing obviously that she wanted to touch on that, I asked her how so. She began to tell me about how her mother in law and sister in law have clearly been unaccepting of her throughout her relationship with her husband, how difficult it was for her and Chris to cope with it. She said her mother in law particularly tries to undermine her as a wife and mother any chance she could find. I asked her how her father in law reacted to her mother in law and sister in law's position. She said he was a wonderful man and good to her, but she could see that it was her mother in law that ruled the roost, and she felt that her father in law would just brush off his wife's and daughter's opinions. She said her sister in law does and acts in whatever manner her mother in law expects of her when it pertains to Shanann. I asked her how Chris handled the situation. She said that Chris was her rock, always supportive, always put her and the girls first, and she felt that was a real contention of tension between her and her mother-in-law and sister-in-law. Her mother-in-law and sister-in-law were crystal clear with her and have told her on many occasions that she was and never would be good enough for Chris, that she drags Chris down, that she did not truly love Chris, and that Chris deserved so much better. She added that her mother-in-law and sister-in-law blame her for taking Chris so far away from them to Colorado. She said that Chris was so happy to move that her mother-in-law was not exactly a nurturing mother to Chris as a child and teen, more possessive and controlling than anything, even through adulthood, and that he was just so ready to get far away from the negativity they placed in his life. Disheartened, to say the least, not having ever met her in-laws to know any different than what Shanann was confiding in me, and knowing Shanann the way that I do, I could not imagine anyone not embracing her. I told her how sad I was for her and for Chris that they were made to live and deal with such animosity from his family. I assured her that whatever feelings her mother-in-law and sister-in-law are and have been for her, so long as Chris stands by her and the girls, then that's all that really matters. I suggested that she let Chris lead the way in dealing with his family and their issues with her. She said her heart breaks for Chris each time they come down on him about her, because she sees firsthand how it hurts him and affects their marriage. To add insult to injury, Shanann then added that her mother-in-law has done what she could through the years to make her daughters, Bella and Cece, feel less than throughout their lives. Shanann said she felt like her mother-in-law would go through the motions of being a good grandmother for Chris's sake, but could see the actions outweighed the words. Some applied to her sister-in-law. I asked Shanann for an example. She said, "Oh, girl, so many." But to provide the latest example was that despite knowing her mother-in-law and sister-in-law felt about her, and even though Chris was not yet to North Carolina to join her, she did not want to deprive her daughters of as much time as they could spend with his family during her visit. So Shanann arranged a visit with them. I understand this was sometime during the week before our dinner together. She said the visit seemed to be going along smoothly at first. However, Shanann felt the tension in the air, and that their ill feelings about her and how they interact with Bella and Cece was still fresh with them. She said that they kept a brave face and positive attitude during her visit, hoping this visit could work towards building bridges with their mother-in-law and sister-in-law and bring some peace. She said they had lunch, I believe, on the patio. hot dogs, if I remember correctly, and that after lunch her mother-in-law and Bella and Cece follow her into the kitchen for some dessert. Shanann heard the girls getting excitable, possibly out of hand, and out of motherly curiosity, Shanann went into the kitchen to check on them and found that her mother-in-law was handing the girls a small bowl of ice cream. Shanann noticed some pieces of something in the ice cream. Shanann asked her mother-in-law, not asked, if the ice cream had nuts in it, and her mother-in-law responded, yes, just a little. Shanann was stunned and told her the girls. This, like I say, this is written weird too because there's missing words and it doesn't make sense, of course. What could I expect of anything in this whole thing, right? But it says, Shanann was stunned and told her girls, I am sorry, girls, you cannot eat that. Her mother-in-law followed and still trying to hand the girls the bowls of ice cream, and not having looked up at Shanann to the girls, and said to the girls, oh, your mommy doesn't know what she's talking about. This ice cream couldn't hurt you. At that point, Shanann apologized to the girls and sent them out of the kitchen without the ice cream. Shanann said to her mother-in-law, once they were alone, you know that they are deathly allergic to all nuts. It can send them into anaphylactic shock. I do not know how you think it is okay to give them ice cream with nuts in it. Please respect their dietary restrictions and to please ask me first when offering any food to the girls, and I will let you know if they can eat what you are offering. Yeah, I'm sure it went just like that. Her mother-in-law waved her hand in dismissal at Shanann and told Shanann that she was just being overprotective as usual and passed her by to head back out to where her sister-in-law was with the girls. Frustrated, Shanann followed her mother-in-law out of the kitchen. Shanann said it was so hard for her to not raise her voice, but she did not want to create a scene with her in-laws in front of the girls, so she bit her tongue from saying anything further and followed her mother-in-law out of the kitchen to where the girls were visiting with her sister-in-law. Shanann noticed that when they rejoined the girls and sister-in-law, that her sister-in-law abruptly got up and went into the house. About 5 or so minutes further into their visit from that point, Bella told her mother she was thirsty, so Shanann went into the kitchen to get her something to drink. She said she was floored to find her sister-in-law placing a large bowl of mixed nuts on the kitchen table, in clear reach of the girls. She asked her sister-in-law why she would do that. Her response to Shanann was, we always have nuts on the kitchen table. Shanann told her, I was just in here and there were no nuts on the table. You know how allergic the girls are of nuts. Shanann told me that she was so upset, hurt, shocked, and amazed that they both would try to offer the girls nuts directly and indirectly, that she felt that her only course of action was to simply collect the girls and go to her parents' house. Shanann said that despite their actions, she informed them of Cece's upcoming birthday, time, and place, and asked them to please be there. It would mean so much to the girls and Chris if they could make it. With that, Shanann left with the girls. I don't think it went that way. Do you guys think it went that way? I don't think it went that way. Let's see here. I gotta check something. I'm waiting for something. Let me see here. Gotta call my son here for a second. Hold on. I'm waiting for him to bring me something because I've been kind of sick. Hold on. Are you back yet? Where are you? Did you forget? You. Is there? What else is down there? It's gonna be closed. They close. Yeah, they close at 10. Oh my God. All right, if you're sure. Okay, love you, bye. Sick, I've got a sore throat, and I asked my son to get me a banana shake, because that's just what always sounds so good to me. But, he forgot, and I don't know. I hope that boy can get there in that impact. We'll see. Well, anyway, I've got to have a Hershey's Kiss to hold me over. We all know this isn't how this argument went down, but to this woman, she likes to keep this image of herself, obviously, that she conducts herself with a certain decorum, which we know otherwise. Well, anyway, of course, I was shocked to hear this as well. I asked if she had spoken to Chris about the incident, and she said yes. He was not happy at all about it and would speak to them. Shanann added that prior to her visit with her in-laws, that she was considering allowing the girls an overnight visit with them. She said that after that incident with the nuts, she just couldn't trust it. Note to self. She sure didn't mind when they gave free babysitting and came out, so she could go out of town and all that stuff, right? Oh no. Should be out there 6 weeks and not let the girls have one overnight with Chris's parents? Of course not. Yo. Yeah. But if you haven't left it yet, it's okay. It's going to be closed. Just medium, if you can get a banana shake or call them or whatever. All right. I don't know if they're closed. If they're closed, it's no big deal. All right. Love you. Bye. Sorry, guys. Have you ever had one of the for real shakes? Are they gross? If it's closed, you can just give me one of those, please. Okay. We'll see. Thank you, honey. Bye-bye. I've had another freaking virus of sore throat, excessive sleeping again. We're talking, it's now Wednesday night, and the last time I ate was Monday night. I've been asleep since then again. It's so crazy. One virus after a frickin' another out here. I think it's that way everywhere. I keep seeing people saying they're sick after being sick. Tired of being sick. But anyway, it says she decided that she would not take the girls back to their house without Chris present. She asked me my opinion in that, did I feel she may be wrong about not going back to their house until Chris was with them? I advised, no. Your first and foremost priority as a parent is to protect your children. That you should never feel or be made to feel guilty in being a protective mother. I offered that they should have known better, and it was clear to me from the incident. Shanann explained that they do not respect her as a mother, and they were dismissive of the girls' health issues. That I understand from Shanann they were fully aware of all along. I told Shanann that if it were me, I surely would not take my children back there alone or leave them alone or with them for any reason. From there, we continued our conversation talking about old times and old memories and where our lives are today. And here it goes here, and here you go. Are you guys ready for this? Because what else? I mean, honestly, what else? Let's go here, and let's say it, because here it's going to go. And we're going to say Friday, July 20th, 2018, as she has this chronicled by dates, because you guys had to have heard this, smelled this. Here it is. I attended the Thrive event at Kickback Jack's. Shanann snapped a selfie with me during the event. After the event, we remained together for a few of her friends and had a wonderful time enjoying some girly time with just her friends. She did not speak of anything that may be of concern to her during that time, just that she was looking forward to next Tuesday to pick up where we left off in conversation. So, thrive. Always thrive. Always about thrive. Now, does that say that she is in Thrive with her? No. Does it say that she's not? No. So, why would she have attended the Thrive? Because she's a possible recruit? I don't know. Or is she in Thrive? Like all of the old internet friends that Shanann has drug up to be in Thrive. Tuesday, July 24th, 2018. We had our second one-on-one dinner at my family's restaurant in Southern Pines. We met up around 6:30 p.m. and sat in the main dining room. As conversation went underway, I asked her how Cece's birthday party went. She said it was wonderful. The girls had so much fun. They were so happy with the party that the girls were missing their daddy and wished he was there, as did she. She then said, guess who did not show up? Shanann informed that Chris's family did not make it to the party. They did not call or text to let her know that they would not make it. Shanann said she texted and called them several times during the party to see if they remembered and to assure they knew where to go and what time the party was. Shanann said that they never responded to her calls or texts. Shanann told me how sad she was for the girls, that they did not make it to the party. Shanann vented to me, it does not matter how they feel about me personally. There is no excuse for them not to make it to the party for the girls. Shanann further added that she had a feeling that they did not come because Shanann declined allowing the girls an overnight visit in lieu of the nuts incident, and that they knew Chris would not be at the party and that it was their way of retaliation towards Shanann. Shanann was clearly quite hurt that they were a no-show. I asked her if she had spoken to Chris to let him know that they were not at the party, and she said yes, that Chris said he was upset by it, and he said he would talk to them. I offered for her not to dwell on it further, as it was their loss in my opinion, and just to let Chris handle it. I advised her to stay positive and not allow their behavior to affect her heart negatively, bring her down on her trip, and to just enjoy the people who enjoy her and the girls in return. Shanann said that she was trying her best and would continue to try, but it just hurt so bad that they think so little of her that they would take it out on the girls. She then added, do you remember last week when I said I would not go back to their house to visit to the girls without Chris? That yes. And then she said, I have decided that it would be best for the girls and Chris if I did not go with them during their visit to her in-laws. Chris can take the girls for a visit when he gets here if he still wants to after they have treated our girls. I asked her if she thought maybe it would be better for Chris and the girls if they could provide a united front together as a family and go with them to her in-laws if she would reconsider. She said she sees my point, but she did not want there to be any... She said she did not want their negative tension while Chris and the girls are spending time with them. She did not want... She mixed up a couple of the words here. It should have been there to be, but it's be to there, whatever. She said that it may be the best thing she can do for them in an effort for Chris and the girls to have a positive visit. She knows that considering their recent behavior with the nuts, that Chris will be all over it where the girls are concerned. She said that she just wished her mother-in-law and sister-in-law would get over it already. Wished that they would accept that they have a great marriage, beautiful little happy girls, and a new baby on the way to look forward to. Okay. Are we remembering the dates here and remembering that these dates she's telling her friends how horrible everything is and that she's separating with Chris and she's telling this one friend this? Why? Why does she tell different people different things? Why is it that this woman did that? Because she wanted this woman to think that she had everything and she moved out to Colorado and she's wealthy out there. Because this woman has parents who own a restaurant or two. Maybe. As we planned a third dinner date for the following Tuesday after Chris came to town. She was excited for me to finally meet Chris and the girls. It would be Chris and the girls' first time at my family's restaurant, and she was excited to share with them because she had so many happy memories to share with them of her time working there. You know, this is also a side note here. I know that there's so much conjecture about Shanann never having any jobs, any typical jobs, that it was really odd that she was able to afford things, from such a young age and didn't have any of these kinds of normal teenage jobs, and that she just went from one thing to that. And they say that she looked pregnant at 16 in that family picture, and there's the rumors that she was a surrogate starting then, and whatnot. And I agree. I think there's some weirdness, and I think that she could have made some extra money on the side by being I don't want to say too much, but I've said it before. I don't want to dwell on it in here, but this is just funny to hear, that those things are not true, that she did have, typical teenage jobs like we all did, as a hostess. So she was a hostess first, and then she worked at A1 Wireless, and then started working at where she became ultimately the Queen of the Dirty South at the Dirty South Wheel and Customs. So that's not too bizarre, for her age and whatnot. So she was a hostess, worked at A1 Wireless, and then worked at the Dirty South. And we know that she did Amway with her dad from a young age. So she was doing Amway on the side there. And then, when she worked at the Dirty South, she had that 50 grand in cash to put down so they'd start building the house. The house was to allegedly mirror what her boss had. So, this is interesting. I like the way that this woman gleans some more insight as to who she was, but we can also tell that she holds back on some things, that she wants this lady to remember her, like she was as, a teenage girl looking up to this lady as an older adult confidant. But as we see with any person that Shanann is involved in, she takes that person and involves them 1000% into the drama that she is currently having in her life. That we don't hear, this woman saying that, this woman came to her with her situations and it was back and forth and it was a reciprocal friendship and they talked about this, they talked about this. No, of course not. It has to be, oh, hi, yeah, I haven't seen you since I left Colorado. Yeah, here are my girls and here's my husband, but you know what? Here's my drama. Here's my drama, and I want to talk about my drama. Let's talk about my drama, okay? It's just so weird. So selfish. So narcissistic, if we will, to the most overused word in the English language at this time. Narcissist. Narcissistic. Narcissist. Maybe the narcissists are taking over. I kind of think they are. So Tuesday, July 31st, 2018. So this is, just about 2 weeks before she was no longer alive. That she was having dinner with this lady at her family's restaurant. It says Tuesday, July 31st, 2018. It says, I set a reservation for them at my family's restaurant for 6 o'clock p.m. I was held up at home waiting to sign for a package. I headed out to the restaurant to meet up with Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Chris around 6:30 p.m. Their apps were served, so appetizers. Their apps were served by the time I arrived. I sat next to Chris, across from Shanann, Bella, and Cece in their booth. It was so nice to finally meet them, especially all together as a family. The girls were clearly happy to see their daddy. They were bubbly, excitable, smiling bright, and enjoying their buttery noodles. Chris was quiet. I felt unassuming and did not say much, but when we spoke of the possibility of a baby boy on the way, he lit up with a smile. It appeared to me that he was happy to be back in the company of his wife and girls, just not a man of many words. Now let's cite this back, okay? This is Tabitha Jane speaking, of course. Is that she says, did not say much, but when we spoke of the possibility of a baby boy on the way, he lit up with a smile. Because, of course, this is Tuesday, July 31st, while she was still in North Carolina. As the now legend is that she found out the sex in the couple of days that she came back between being in North Carolina and headed towards Arizona. Had the ultrasound that may or may not have included Christopher Watts, and N.A. wrote the sex of the baby in an envelope, and then it was still to have some type of gender reveal party, but then they decided not to because Chris and her decided to separate, and Shanann said to, thank you so much. It's all I crave when I'm sick. Thank you. Thank you, baby. You okay? Thank you, hon. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So as we know, supposedly N.A. wrote the sex of the baby down because Shanann said, I need something to cheer me up. So while they were like headed down to Arizona, whatever, we figured out now that it's basically that time. So it was all this obsession of hopefully it's a boy because what, these girls just aren't good enough. You don't want to be a dad to another girl. So ridiculous. But anyway, that's how it was. Wasn't that the baby is healthy. Wasn't anything like that. But now remember, while Chris was there and right before and everywhere else, she was texting her friends about how sick she was, how Chris wasn't touching her, loving her, blah, 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 right? So now Chris is here at dinner, and she's acting like a happy family to this woman, in front of this woman. Isn't it interesting how she can change the way that she acts based on what she's telling somebody? Very interesting, very interesting. A chameleon, if you will. Or a manipulator. Oh, that is one good banana shake. I want some buttery noodles, too. Buttery noodles sound good. Buttery noodles and milkshakes, they sound good when you're sick, you know? And then it says, it appeared to me that he was happy to be back in the company of his wife and girls, just not a man of many words. We all went to the lobby to visit just a pinch longer, considering this would be my last time seeing them for a long while. Oh, that's sad because last time to see her. Let me see here. Okay. So, it says, if there was trouble in paradise for them, they did a wonderful job of hiding it. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Because, like I say, remember, the same time this is going on, oh, she's writing this to her friend. Well, now I just leaned in and it's going to say that because it says, she says, if there was trouble in paradise, if there was trouble in paradise for them, they did a wonderful job hiding it. I did not get any negative vibes or urges of concern from or about him or from Shanann or the girls in relation to him. For all intents and purposes, they were a happy family looking forward to a quick trip to the beach before they headed home to Colorado. So this is when they took that little beach thing, and she's writing that, blah, 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 blah. So then it says, Shanann, with girls and husband in tow, kept the conversation light and airy. She did not bring up any family issues and was just so happy to have Chris with them in North Carolina after having been apart those past few weeks. About 9 o'clock or so, we said our farewells. Shanann snapped a picture of me and the girls in the restaurant waiting area, and then I walked them out. I had no inclination that I would never see them again. That has to just be so hard. Here she said, later she posted on Facebook that she felt very ill. Thought it felt like she was experiencing symptoms of food poisoning. She later texted me with another self-diagnosis of dehydration. I chalked it up as side effects of the pregnancy. Okay, and here it is. She was just eating, at her friend's restaurant. She's going saying she has food poisoning. Because you know that she just put that she was at this restaurant with her friend and everything. She's saying food poisoning. Like, oh, thanks. Thanks for bashing our family, ma'am. But it's that she saw her and everything is wonderful and everything. But then she's saying, oh, she's so sick and dehydrated. Remember how sick she was telling her friends that she was so sick and dehydrated, couldn't do anything, and oh, it's all Chris's fault and blah, 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 blah. Can you believe that? Then it says, I had no idea or could have never expected that just a few short weeks later I would hear that they went missing and then murdered, and that Chris confessed to killing them all. Okay. Ma'am, that's not the way. I don't think that's the way it went down. But, I wasn't there. And the thing is that why can't both things be true? Why can't it be that she was a shitty mom abusing the kids and being a shitty liar as a wife, and that Chris did something terrible? Why can it not be both true that both of these adults were acting very irresponsibly and ultimately I don't even know what the words are, but it's ridiculous that they want to do one as an angel and one as a devil, one is good and one is evil, when both were contributing to making a miserable, toxic environment that blew up. So anyway, she says, my heart and mind just kept going back to my one-on-one conversations with Shanann during our dinner dates and the troubles she'd been having with her in-laws, past and present, wondering if any of it could be connected. I wondered how much of what Shanann confided in me about her in-laws was shared with her mother, father, brother, or other close friends while she was visiting North Carolina. I don't know if any of us will truly have all the information about what exactly occurred. What we do know is that Shanann, Bella, and Cece and unborn baby Nico are all gone to us, and that they deserve so much better than to lose their lives in such a violent manner at the hand of pure evil. And then it says, I do not care to, nor will I speak to any media outlet on this matter in any capacity for any reason. I respectfully request that the information, all details of this affidavit, not be shared with any media outlet in any format for any reason. I provide this affidavit strictly for the insight it could provide. I, like her family and many friends, seek justice for Shanann, Bella, Cece, and their unborn son, Nico Lee, the 4 precious souls Chris so selfishly and violently robbed this world of. Respectfully, Sandra L. Garanda, August 20th, 2018. So she wrote this and sent this, in a week after, sent it off. She had it notarized. And that's that. I think that that poor woman must feel just terrible. I mean, so many questions. And how did she just have dinner with them and have them acting all happy and everything, and then literally 2 weeks later, the unthinkable? Now, it goes on to say that I'm going to switch out chairs. Ma Kisses was in my chair, so I had to take the little office chair, so I got to change it back now that Ma Kisses decided to let me have my chair. And then, Boo Boo, do you want to come up on this chair, Papa? Come up on a chair. Go. Want to sit next to Mama? You can sit next to Mama right here if you want. Come up. Then I can pet you. He's been a love bug. He loves it when I'm sick and I can just cuddle with him all day long. Such a love. He's gotten this new thing though when he's done with me petting him, because I'll pet him all through while I sleep. He'll push my hands down and he'll put his paws on the top of my hand to just keep them down, and forcefully if he needs to. Just puts my hands down. It's like, no more petting me. So then, let's see here. It says here that on August 16th, 2018, during the late afternoon hours. Okay, this is a thing, and it's got the Frederick, Colorado letterhead. Sorry about that. I'm just reading this. I didn't explain what I'm looking at here. So it's a Frederick, Colorado police department header, and it says Discovery page 932. And it says, on August 16, 2018, during the late afternoon hours, evidence technicians from both the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and the Frederick Police Department located 2 bodies from whom police have strong reason to believe are Bella and Celeste Watts, the daughters of Shanann Watts. While we will not disclose the location as to where these bodies were located, police can say that they were found in close proximity to the other body whom officers strongly believe is Shanann's. The Frederick Police Department and CBI will not answer any questions and ask that all media inquiries be referred to the Weld County District Attorney's Office. Okay, so that's the way they first came out with this, huh? They didn't let the horrible details come on, huh? And then it says built on what matters as their like mission statements or something down here. And then they have another thing, and then it has where it has the Frederick Police Department missing persons in red. Be on the lookout of Bolo. And so I don't know why it has this with that, but it does. And it says on August 13th, 2018, the Frederick Police Department was notified of 3 missing persons. Shanann Watts, 34 years old, and her 2 daughters that are 3 and 4 years old are missing as well. Shanann is also 15 weeks pregnant, and there is no vehicle associated at this time. And then it has that picture, that notorious picture, where it's her kind of smiling, and she's got the thumbs up, and it doesn't show the Thrive stickers in that, why they kind of chopped that off. And then they've got this picture, and I think that they did it because it was like one of the, I think it was probably the most recent picture, but it's a really weird picture because she's up against the window. And you know, you should never take a picture at the sunlight. You always want the sunlight or the light behind you. So that's why this picture is really weird, because she's standing there and she's wearing the black shirt with the cold shoulders, you know, the shoulder cutouts. And she's holding Bella and Cece's, you know, they're holding her arms. And it's in front of a table with cutouts. I think they were doing some crafts or something for their upcoming Thrive weekend at her friend's house. Something like that is what I heard that picture was. But it's a weird picture. She's got a real weird look on her face. Like, it's just a weird picture. I think that Shanann knew her angles, and I think that she knew how to um, Photoshop her pictures really early on, because you see her pictures. I mean, she's very photogenic. She's beautiful in her own right, but she's very photogenic in her also. But when you see the pictures that other people take of her versus where she posts her own, there's always something different. So now we're to discovery page 934, and it says, if you have any information regarding this case, please contact Detective Dave Baumhover. And it says his email and phone number and the Frederick Police Department with any information regarding this bolo. Be on the lookout. Bolo. And then it says a warrantless arrest affidavit, and it says for Watts Christopher Lee, May 16, 1985. And it's stating his charges. And it states the charges, felony misdemeanors, and he's got three charges of murder in the first degree. He's got 2 charges right here of 3 charges of tampering with a deceased human body. Now it says here, being duly sworn upon oath, says that there is a probable cause for the warrantless arrest of the above-named defendant for the charges stated above, and that the following facts are true and correct to the best of his or her knowledge, information and belief, and support to the arrest of the defendant. And it says the crimes alleged on or about 8/13/2018 at 2825 Saratoga Trail in the town of Frederick, state of Colorado. The suspect was arrested at 11:02 p.m. on Wednesday, August 15, 2018. So once again, you look at it, and this happened, we assume, in the hours of, those wicked hours, because they're the same hours that we're talking about the Idaho 4 happening, between the hours like 2 and 5 a.m. And he was arrested by 11 o'clock 2 days later. And you have her mother stating that that's not good enough. I mean, I don't know. It seems like to me like they worked really hard. Now, what happened afterwards and whatnot, I don't agree with. I don't agree with what the Tambro girl did and whatnot. But I see a lot of officers working really hard in that time period. Now here it has the narrative on the probable cause warrantless arrest, and it says, on August 13, 2018, at approximately 13:40 hours, Officer Coonrad was dispatched to 2825 Saratoga Trail on a check well-being call. The reporting party, Nicole Utoft, called about her friend, Shanann Watts. Nicole stated, "Oh, wow. Hold on. Shanann Watts, 11084. Well, happy birthday up there, Miss Beautiful Angel. I didn't realize that her birthday was just on Tuesday." So she would be 38. Is that right? She was born in 84, and it's 22. Oh my goodness, it's 23. So she might be 39. I haven't been out much, so I haven't wrote 2023 yet. That's surreal to me. 2023. Wow. Okay. Nicole stated she dropped Shanann off at her residence around 01:48 hours, so 1:48 in the morning, 8/13/18, after returning from a business trip that took place in Arizona. Nicole stated Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant and was not feeling well during the trip. She shouldn't have went on that trip. I don't know why she would have if she was that sick. If she was actually that sick and pregnant, Why wouldn't her priority be on the baby? Anyway, says later that morning, 8/13/18, Shanann became concerned because Shanann was not answering her phone calls or text messages and also missed her doctor's appointment that was scheduled for 10 o'clock a.m. We know that it was 9:15, right? It was actually scheduled, but anyway. Nicole went to Shanann's residence and discovered her car in the garage with car seats positioned inside of it. Shanann and her husband, Christopher Watts, date of birth 5/16/85, have two daughters, Celeste Watts and Bella Watts. Nicole attempted to enter the front door, but a latch prevented it from opening more than 3 inches. Nicole called Christopher Watts and requested he come back to check on Shanann, as she believed Shanann may be suffering or passed out due to some medical conditions. Upon arrival, Officer Coonrod checked all windows and doors, including the rear slider door, and discovered all of them were locked with no way into the house. Officer Coonrod contacted Chris and asked for the code of the outside garage door keypad. Chris stated it didn't work, but he was only 5 minutes away. When Christopher arrived, Officer Coonrod entered the home with Chris's consent in an attempt to locate Shanann and their 2 children, but discovered they were not in the home. When questioned by Officer Coonrod, Chris said that Shanann arrived home from her trip around 2 a.m. Chris said he woke up around 5 a.m. and began talking to Shanann about marital separation and informed her he wanted to initiate the separation. Chris stated it was a civil conversation and they were not arguing, but were emotional. Okay, that's not what he said, but he didn't say he wants to initiate the separation. They'd had several conversations about that back in North Carolina and otherwise, but the way they did this is how people read this and then thought that it's not. He didn't say he wants to initiate it. Anyway. Wait a minute. Okay. I mean, where it says Chris stated it was a civil conversation. They were not arguing, but were emotional. He also said that she was crying and her mascara was running down her face. That he was crying. So what is this? Chris stated around 5:27 he backed his truck up to the garage door to load up tools and left for work, and that Shanann was in bed when he left. Note: a neighbor's video surveillance system recorded this event. Chris said Shanann told him she was going to a friend's house later that day with her 2 children, but didn't know the friend's name. Chris, who works for Anadarko, stated he went to a job site near Hudson to check on it. At Officer Coonrod's request, Detective Baumhover responded to the scene and arrived at approximately 2:35 p.m. Upon arrival, Detective Baumhover was briefed by Officer Coonrod and also learned Shanann's personal effects, including her cell phone, purse, wallet, and medication, were located in the house. Upon entering the residence, Detective Baumhover observed Shanann's purse on a kitchen island and a suitcase located at the bottom of the stairs leading to upstairs bedrooms. A pair of women's shoes were located near the front door. Upstairs, Detective Baumhover observed the bed in the master bedroom had been stripped of its bedding, which was lying on the floor. Officer Coonrod and Detective Baumhover both checked the bedding for signs of foul play, but found nothing. In a loft area located between the bedrooms was Shanann's cell phone that Detective Baumhover later learned was found between 2 cushions of a sofa located in the loft area. On scene, Detective Baumhover asked Chris to walk me through the period of time when he last saw Shanann. Chris said Shanann arrived home from the airport at approximately 1:48 on 8/13/18. At approximately 4 a.m., he informed Shanann he wanted to go through with a separation and they were both upset and crying. Chris said Shanann told him she was going to a friend's house that day. So that's where it says it there. Okay. Chris said at approximately 5:27 a.m., Chris backed his work truck into the driveway to load up tools and shortly thereafter drove off to a work site near Hudson. Neighbor Nathaniel Trinastich, 11478, home video surveillance shows Nicole's vehicle leaving at 1:48 a.m. At 5:27, Chris's truck is observed backing into the driveway and leaving a short time later. Chris provided consent to check Shanann's phone and ultimately surrendered it to allow Detective Baumhover to examine it for information leading to Shanann and daughter's whereabouts. Detective Baumhover transported the phone to the Frederick Police Department, where it has remained since Detective Baumhover collected it. A neighborhood canvass was conducted for several hours later that evening by patrol, and a check well-being bolo was initiated through dispatch. On 8/14/18 at approximately 0700, so 7 o'clock a.m., Detective Baumhover learned neither Shanann nor the girls had returned to the residence. Detective Baumhover requested an immediate press release to be issued and initiated assistance from the CBI and ultimately the FBI. A 2-day investigation revealed Chris was actively involved in an affair with a coworker, which he denied in previous interviews in a subsequent polygraph. The polygraph also indicated Chris was very deceptive when answering questions regarding knowledge of Shanann and girls' whereabouts and if he had anything to do with their disappearance. In a subsequent interview, Chris was confronted about his deceptive polygraph results and asked to speak with his father, who was present at the police department. Chris said he would tell the truth after speaking with his dad. After being allowed to speak with his father, Chris stated after he told Shanann he wanted a separation, he walked downstairs for a moment and then returned to his bedroom to speak with Shanann again. While in the bedroom, via a baby monitor located on Shanann's nightstand, he observed Bella sprawled out on her bed and Blue, and Shanann actively strangling Celeste. Chris said that he went into a rage and ultimately strangled Shanann to death. Chris said he loaded all 3 bodies onto the back seat of his work truck and took them to an oil work site identified as Survey 319 with GPS coordinates 40.216-24374, TAC 104.36667. Chris said he buried Shanann near 2 oil tanks and dumped the girls inside the oil tanks. Chris was presented an aerial photograph of the tank battery area and identified 3 separate locations in which he placed the bodies. Prior to Chris's confession, investigators arrived at Survey 319 with consent to initiate a drone search of the area. At approximately 4:15 p.m., investigators spotted a bedsheet in the field near a tank battery. The tank battery. The sheet matched the pattern of several pillowcases and a top sheet recovered from a kitchen trash can from the Watts' residence early that day. That searched was conducted with prior consent provided by Chris. The drone search also revealed fresh movement of dirt consistent with a clandestine grave near the oil tanks. The affiant's signature, subscribed and sworn, and none of it is signed. Now it's going through the property items. And the pillowcases, blah, blah, blah. Top sheet, we know all that. We've seen that a million times. Now, it's in this one, too, it also mentions that it has the Apple Watch, and we've went through all of that before. And we've never heard what was on any of the 3 Apple Watches this got. How many? It has 3 here. Let me see. It's got the pillowcase with residue, and then the pillowcase is down here. It's got the top sheet with residue. And what did they find on those? I've never heard. And then it has the jewelry Apple Watch, the 7000 series green. And then it says the Series 3 Apple Watch, which is golden pink. And then the MacBook, which it says was worth $1,500. And then the iPad with a Cab Neely brand hard case. They say that the iPad is worth $1,500 too. So wait, they say that the MacBook and the iPad are worth $1,500. And then the computer, it says hard soft Echo. So the Echo, I don't think we ever heard what was on the Echo either. And then the router was taken from Netgear. And then we have the leggings from Maurice's for $50. They're black pattern. It says quantity 2. It says recovered clothes / furs. Leggings cover clothes possibly last seen in. This is black pattern, quantity 2, $50. Would you watch for sales, people? Love Maurice's. I just remember being a teenager and going in there, and it was just so magic. It came to my small town, and it just had these clothes that, never seen so many of them, and the earrings and everything. Not that I could afford any of them, but just remember Maurice's just feeling, so magic. I mean, not that I buy really anything from them now. Like, I'll go in there occasionally, but I'm a lard ass. I can just really only fit into Torrid clothes, which is fine. I really like Torrid, but I wish I could fit into more clothes. Maurice's has some plus size stuff, but I don't know. They just seem so cool in the 80s. Now it has the recovered hardback book, Hold Me Tight. It was worth $30. And the light blue nitro glove. And then all bedding and pillows from Bella's room. I'm going through this fast because we've already went through all of this. And then all bedding and pillow from Celeste. And then the bedding from the corner master bedroom. And I don't know why it's so repetitive. And all master bedroom bedding and pillows. And they only put $50 on that. No, that master bedding was beautiful and it was worth a lot more than $50. And then it says men's clothing from the corner for $50. $50. They like the $50. Closed on the master bed. They're only worth $1. Okay. Then it says all clothes in the hamper, which were worth $1. So got a couple of leggings that are worth $50 from Maurice's, but then everything else is just $1 over here. All right, and then it says the computer hard soft baby monitor, two cameras, worth $150. Well, I don't know about that, but then the Dell computer, which is a 2018 black laptop, valued at $2,000. And then it says black and red USB drive, only worth $1. Okay. And then it's got another USB drive that's silver, worth $1. And then another one, it says USB drive Home Depot store. Why they would have that? Maybe that just has their home decor on it or something. I don't know. It says for $1. And then it has another USB Home Depot store computer hard soft for $1. USB. I don't know. And then it has this black plastic bag, and I don't think I know what it had in that. And it says it's worth $0. And then this other black plastic bag worth $0. The gray and white bed sheet worth $0. And they've got the rake head, which they put a $0. A rake handle, $0. I guess so, because it's broken. And then they have the suspected hair from the East oil tank. And then they have the partial rake handle again. And then clothes and furs. White Minnie Mouse underwear from Celeste Watts at Autopsy. Poor baby. Oh, then it says a pink oil-soaked t-shirt from Celeste at Autopsy. It's so sad. And face swabs from Celeste Watts at Autopsy prior to cleaning. And then face swabs from Celeste Watts at Autopsy after cleaning. And then anterior neck swabs from Celeste at Autopsy prior to cleaning. And then anterior neck swabs from Celeste at Autopsy after cleaning. And oral swabs from Celeste Watts at Autopsy. Vaginal swabs from Celeste Watts at Autopsy. A DNA card from Celeste Watts at Autopsy. An X-ray disc of Celeste Watts at Autopsy. Control swabs, Celeste Watts at Autopsy. And it says skin from left and right hands with fingernails from Celeste Watts at Autopsy. As you guys remember, her skin from her hands came off, called degloving. And then a pink pajama top with heart and butterfly design from Bella Watts. Oil-soaked underwear from Bella Watts at Autopsy. Face swabs from Bella Watts at Autopsy. And then it says anterior neck swabs from Bella Watts at Autopsy after cleaning and removing oil. And anterior neck swabs from Bella Watts at Autopsy prior to removing the oil. And then it says face swabs from Bella Watts at Autopsy prior to cleaning oil. Oral swabs from Bella Watts at Autopsy. Vaginal swabs from Bella Watts at Autopsy. Left palmar swab from Bella Watts at Autopsy. Right palmar swab from Bella Watts at Autopsy. Left hand fingernail clippings from Bella Watts at Autopsy. Right hand fingernail clippings from Bella Watts at Autopsy. Control swab from Bella Watts at Autopsy. DNA card from Bella Watts at Autopsy. X-ray disc from Bella Watts at Autopsy. Blue thong type underwear from Shanann Watts at Autopsy. Sorry, let's see here. Purple and white cotton t-shirt with silver peace sign and heart design from Shanann Watts at Autopsy. Black bra from Shanann Watts at Autopsy. White metal post nose ring with clear stone from Shanann Watts at Autopsy. Brown paper bag from Shanann Watts at Autopsy for her right hand. Brown paper bag from Shanann Watts at Autopsy for her left hand. Coroner's body bag sheet from Shanann Watts at Autopsy. Fingernails from Shanann Watts at Autopsy from her right hand. I wonder if any of those were broke because they were acrylic, and if she had strangled the girls, or if, she fought back, if she was sleeping, how, there's either one or two ways this happened, supposedly, but I wonder if any of the nails were broken themselves. Fingernail from Shanann Watts at Autopsy, left hand. That was one fabulous banana shake, let me tell you that. And you can tell that I've worked in healthcare for too long because I can talk about food while I talk about this stuff, which is something that most people can't. And let's see here. Palmer swab from Shanann Watts at Autopsy, right hand. Palmer swab from Shanann Watts at Autopsy for left hand. Face swabs from Shanann Watts at Autopsy. Anterior neck swabs from Shanann Watts at Autopsy. Control swabs from Shanann Watts at Autopsy. X-ray disc from Shanann Watts at Autopsy. These are all things that they're just listing that are there in their custody. And a DNA card from Shanann Watts at Autopsy submitted to CBI from the morgue. Fingerprints from Shanann Watts at Autopsy. Anterior neck swabs from Shanann Watts at Autopsy from clean. Fetus from Shanann Watts at Autopsy submitted to CBI from morgue. And I did that separate recording of exactly what they said regarding the fetus and the fetus measurements. And we're talking skeletal measurements, because I know that people came for me saying that no, the fetus, would have already broken down and blah, blah, blah. No, I was talking about the skeletal measurements. I did the skeletal measurements and showed them. So if you're interested in that little piece, that's on another video that I did. And then we have the cardboard liner from the bottom of the drying cabinet containing coroner sheet. Dirt particles from coroner body sheet. Cardboard liner from drying cabinet containing victim's clothing. Spade round type shovel from work pickup. From Ace Hardware, worth $30. And it says a square point shovel was seized and is worth $30. Red handled sickle from work truck, $30. Red gas can from work truck, $30. Work boots from work truck, black, $100. DNA swabs of steering wheel of work truck. Why would that be? I mean, of course they're going to have Chris's. No one else is going to be driving. I don't know what would the DNA swabs on the steering wheel of his work truck show? Guess if there was blood or something on them? I don't know. Driver's side seat cover from work truck for $50. Driver's side seat cover from work truck, $50. Roll of plastic trash bags from passenger side truck of the floor, worth $15, and they're black. Cigarette lighter from truck, $10. Trace lift center console. The console is spelled COLNSOLE. I assume they're saying console. They put a buck on that. And then the Trace lift black seat driver's side truck. Trace lift back seat passenger side truck. Work boots from car, $250. Then a shirt from car, $20. Miscellaneous paperwork from car. Chris Watts' cell phone. And they put 0. And it's an iPhone, black. Style 5S, an Apple. And they put $0. It's not worth anything to them. And then it says Chris Watts' personal cell phone, which was an iPhone. And it was black and an Apple, and they say it's not worth anything either. Shanann's cell phone, rose gold, not worth anything either. They don't like Apple, I guess. Chris Watts' wallet with contents says it was worth nothing. Then it says a flash drive with video footage from 6432 Saratoga Trail. And it says it's a recording video, audio, visual. And that must be another neighbor, because I thought that neighbor Nate never did turn his in, but I don't know, because I don't know that would be the right numbering for neighbor Nate. 6432. I don't think that's right. But so somebody provided something in a flash drive. Video footage from 6432 Saratoga Trail. And then McDonald's video footage flash drive. So they did get that ultimately. Remember, he kept going and asking for that. And then the Apple iPhone 6 from Nicole Kessinger. So she had an Apple phone as well, an iPhone 6, and they put 0 value on that. And then it says type notes from Nicole Kessinger, 7 pages, $0 on that. And then it says there's a CD1 of a Firestone drone video of well site, and they put $1 on that. And then it says CD2 Firestone drone photos of well site. They put $1 on that as well. So these are all things that are in evidence. And it says here they have a computer hard soft CD3 Officer Coonrod body-worn camera offense report. So it must be the body cam of Coonrod when he went and took the report. And then CD4 of Officer James body-worn camera, I would assume was what BWC means, worth $1. And then Officer James photos, worth $1. CD7 Officer Dahl BWC body-worn camera of security footage, $1. CD8 is Officer Wally photos from consensual house search, $1. CD9 Officer Goodman impound of Lexus for $1. And then Officer James photos of C. Watts detainment for $1. And then Officer Davies flyer distribution for $1. Officer Manley's neighborhood canvas supplemental 9 for $1. Officer Coonrad's recovery of Shanann Watts supplemental 10 for $1. CD14 of Coonrod recovery of Bella Watts supplemental 11 for $1. CD-15, Officer Coonrad, recovery of Celeste Watt, supplemental 11 for $1. CD-16, Officer Lyons, house security for $1. CD-18 of Officer Lyons, neighborhood campus. CD-19, CSO Scarlett of the flyer distribution. CD-20, Officer Davies, contact with defense team. Officer Dahl flyer for CD-21 for $1. CD-22, Sergeant Bakes search warrant. CD-23, Sergeant Bakes consensual house search for $1. CD-24 of Officer Walhite, warrant of search photo, supplemental 34 for $1. And then we're all the way here to discovery page 978, 867 of 1,960. And it has the non-PDF file list, and it has all of the things that are in this from the scene photos, Anadarko site, thief hatch hair, AM drone photos, PM drone deploy photos, vehicle photos, zip, and then attachments. And then we've got something here from Longmont Police Department. And it is here on Kimbark Street in Longmont, and it says the Longmont Police Department, report date 8/17, and it's a other agency assist. And what it's saying is the Special Enforcement Unit, outside agency assist. So what they're gonna say that they have done here, they're just probably trying to make sure that they get paid for helping and being out of their district. Jurisdiction, I should say. Let me see here. Okay, on August 14, 2018, this is their summary narrative, Longmont Police responded to a request for assistance by Frederick Police Department. Oh, are you scratching, Kisses? Sharpening your claws? Oh no, that's Boo. What are you doing on Kiss? Oh, what are you doing? You're up? Oh no, he's up. On, let's see here. Here, Boo Boo. There we go. It says, on August 14, 2018, at approximately 1500 hours, Detective Sergeant Harper, currently assigned to the Longmont Police Department Special Enforcement Unit, received a call from Sergeant Egan of the Frederick Police Department to assist with a missing person possible homicide investigation. Sergeant Egan advised that a female subject and her 2 children were reported missing from 2825 Saratoga Trail, Frederick, Colorado 80516. He further advised that the circumstances of the incident were suspicious in nature. He requested the assistance of LPD SEU for surveillance operations of the male subject identified as the female's husband. SEU was advised that the male subject was last observed at the residence loading items into a white Lexus SUV bearing State of Colorado 528ZJV. SEU and GCSU, Sergeant Harper, Detective McManus, Detective Pollock, Officer Owenby, and Officer Townsend responded to the area and observed a white Lexus SUV parked in front of the residence, while 2 subjects, a male and a female, were observed sitting on the steps of the front porch. It was later determined that these were associates of the male suspect. Did you get that? Did you like that? Just a second. Let me see here. Just a second. I gotta put the rest of the cup for my shakedown for Boo. Shake cup. And I've got to have a lifesaver for my throat. Sergeant Egan advised that a female subject and her 2 children were reported missing from 2825 Saratoga Trail, Frederick, Colorado 80516. He further advised that the circumstances of the incident were suspicious in nature. He requested the assistant. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong line. I just got a lifesaver and it's very good. It's grape flavor. Sometime around 1830, Officer Owenby observed the male suspect, who had been identified as Christopher Lee Watts, exit the garage of the residence of the white Lexus SUV. He exited the driveway eastbound out of sight for a few moments. Surveillance units then observed him stopped at a brown Ford pickup that appeared to be a fleet truck for an oil company based on its markings and description. This vehicle was identified as belonging to Watts as a business-owned vehicle for Anadarko Oil Services. It was identified by the state of Colorado registration plate QFT 682. Information relayed by Sergeant Egan regarding the investigation was that Watts had been observed loading items into this vehicle early in the morning of the disappearance, which was described by neighbors as being unusual behavior. He was at this vehicle for several minutes with the rear hatch of the Lexus open and the doors of the truck also open. He then departed but immediately returned to the truck for a few more moments. He departed the neighborhood traveling directly to I-25 southbound. Surveillance units kept him in sight as he continued south to 136th Avenue, where he turned eastbound. He then turned north on Washington Street. He traveled to Highway 7 and turned east. Detective Steele arrived to assist with surveillance around this time. He then flipped a U-turn and traveled west back to I-25 northbound. He got off at Highway 52, traveling east and ultimately traveling directly to Frederick Police Department, where he had been requested for an interview with detectives. Detective Schultz arrived to assist around this time. After the interview was completed, Sergeant Egan advised that he believed Watts would travel to 12255 Claude Court in North Glen. Watts was observed leaving the police department following a blue sedan, which came back to the same registered owners as the couple originally seen driving the other white Lexus SUV. Both vehicles drove directly to 12615 Jersey Circle, West Thornton, Colorado. Watts was observed entering the garage at this location. The blue sedan was parked in the garage next to the white Lexus SUV observed in front of Watts' residence at the beginning of surveillance operations. Surveillance units were released at this time No further actions to report by any surveillance. So is that when he went and spent the night at his friend's house? I don't know. Because this was printed at 9/5/2018. So obviously they're just putting forth their reports that they had been a part of. And then it says here that the gang unit, that they were assigned to a gang unit. It says Longmont Police Department, supplemental, location 2825 Saratoga Trail. The zip code from date 8/14/2018, right? And it says assignment gang unit, entered by 0605, assignment gang unit, transfer successful, property stat successful, property none. Okay, why did they get the gang unit on this? I see. Because they use plainclothes officers, maybe, I guess. I don't know. It says on August 14, 2018, at approximately 15:09 hours, that's 3:09 to us civilians, I, MPO OMB, a member of the Longmont Police Department, Gang and Crime Suppression Unit, GCSU, I was wearing plainclothes and driving a surveillance platform. I was contacted by Sergeant Pitts, also with GCSU, who informed me that I needed to head to the area of 2825 Saratoga Trail, Frederick, Colorado, to assist in physical surveillance of suspect Christopher Watts. I was provided a Colorado driver's license photo of Watts as well as a vehicle description. Oh, I see. They were being all sneaky. Investigation. Prior to responding to the Frederick address, I was informed that Watts' wife and 2 daughters had been reported missing by a friend. I responded to the area to assist. When I arrived in the area, I contacted Sergeant Harper with the Longmont Police Department Special Enforcement Unit and advised him of my arrival. Sergeant Harper requested I park my vehicle on Steeple Rock Drive so I could see the front of Watts' residence at 2825 Saratoga Trail. I parked my vehicle in the 6300 block of Steeple Rock Drive along the west curb line and facing south. South end of Steeple Rock ends at Saratoga Trail. In front of Watts' residence. A short time later, I observed a male matching the description of Watts, wearing a light-colored shirt, take one of the garbage cans and walk it to a residence on the east side of Steeple Rock Drive, just north of his residence. So, he took the garbage can and took it somewhere else? Or are they saying he walked to the thing? After returning the garbage can, Watts returned to his residence and walked out of my view. A few minutes later, I observed a white Lexus backing down the driveway of Watts' residence. The Lexus SUV backed onto Saratoga Trail, then pulled forward and drove east out of my sight. Saratoga Trail, to the east of Steeple Rock Place, turns north, then back west, and ends at Steeple Rock Place. As I was waiting for the white Lexus SUV to come back into my sight, I was informed by Sergeant Harper that the white Lexus SUV had stopped at Watts' work pickup truck. After approximately a few minutes at the work pickup truck, The white Lexus SUV drove east on Saratoga Trail and followed Saratoga Trail till it reached Steeple Rock Drive. Okay. When the white Lexus SUV reached Steeple Rock Drive, it turned north on Steeple Rock Drive. When it reached Windham Hill Parkway, the white Lexus did a U-turn and headed south on Steeple Rock Drive, then west on Saratoga Trail, the same way he drove when he left the residence. After approximately a few minutes later, the white Lexus SUV again drove east on Saratoga Trail and followed Saratoga Trail until it reached Steeple Rock Drive. When the white Lexus SUV reached Steeple Rock Drive, it turned north onto Steeple Rock Drive, and then it says the east, to Windham Hill Parkway. The white Lexus SUV went out of my sight. I stayed in my position in case the white Lexus SUV turned around to come back to the residence. After a few minutes, I left my position and attempted to catch up to the other surveillance units who were following the white Lexus SUV. Due to heavy traffic, I was unable to catch up to the white Lexus SUV and other surveillance units. What? Okay, if I'm following somebody, I don't let anybody get in my way. Not even kidding. When my son was really sick and he was being taken by ambulance down to the children's hospital a few years ago, and I was following down in my private vehicle, the ambulance driver, she was like, why were you tailgating me the whole way? I was like, because people kept trying to get between me and you. And I was like, you've got my son back there. Nobody's getting between me and you. It's like, she's like, okay. Like, It's like, I'm not letting anybody. How did this officer let other cars get in? Just like, okay, go ahead. What? You sillies? I should be on the department. So then it says, after a few minutes, I left my position and attempted to catch up with the other surveillance. Okay, there we go. He can't catch up. Blah, blah, blah. As I was attempting to catch up to the other surveillance units, we were informed Watts had agreed to come to the Frederick Police Department for an interview. Oh my God. So they're all chasing him and everything, and he's on his way down to the department. Oh, glad you have all these guys on there. Glad you're all following him. Almost made an OJ incidents out of this. Oh my God. So, I responded back towards the Frederick Police Department. As I arrived in the area, I observed the white Lexus SUV parked in front of the Frederick Police Department. A few moments later, I saw Watts exit out of the driver's door and walk into the police department. Stellar police work, guys. I mean, just stellar. Oh my God. When the interview was completed, I saw Watts exit the police department and walk back to a blue vehicle that was parked behind the white Lexus SUV. A few moments later, Watts walked back to his vehicle and drove away from the Frederick Police Department, headed west on 5th Street. Watts appeared to be following the blue vehicle that was parked behind his at the Frederick Police Department. Once Watts was out of my sight, he was immediately located by the other surveillance units. Commander Egan, with the Frederick Police Department, advised the surveillance units that Watts was likely headed to 12255 Claude Court in North Glen, Colorado. The surveillance units followed Watts to 12615 Jersey Circle West. When it appeared that Watts was staying there, the surveillance units pulled out of the area and concluded surveillance. There is no further information at this time. Oh my goodness. Some real white knuckle police work there. And then it's just more out of the Longmont Police Department Special Enforcement Unit. So that's what SEU is. And it says here that on August 14th, 2018, at approximately 1500 hours, so 3 o'clock to us, ICE Sergeant Harper, currently assigned to the Longmont Police Department Special Enforcement Unit, received a call from Commander Egan with the Frederick Police Department to assist with a missing person possible homicide investigation. Okay, the investigation. Commander Egan advised that a female subject and her 2 children were reported missing from 2825 Saratoga Trail, Frederick, Colorado, 80516. He further advised that the circumstances of the incident were suspicious. Commander Egan requested the assistance of LPD SEU for surveillance operations of the male subject identified as a female's husband. SEU was advised that the male subject was last observed at the residence loading items into a white Lexus SUV bearing Colorado license plates 528ZJV. Okay. This is like the same. This is the exact same piece of paper. It says exactly the same thing. I'm not going to bore you guys into that. And so, yeah, it's just exactly the same. Exactly the same wording. And then this next one is the same. So what? It must have been like each officer that they used in this surveillance put forth their own wording in this, because it is literally the exact same boring surveillance. Okay. Let's see here. Case is closed out of the outside agencies. So yeah, I think that was just them putting everything together. Okay, so now we have something a little bit different here. And this one is from the Longmont Police Department. And it is with Ivan Perez, who says that, oh, he's a police officer at the Frederick Police Department. And then it has Dave Baumhover, who we know well. Well, he's a detective. And it says his initial information was on August 17th, 2018, at approximately 21:07 hours. Officer Placentia was dispatched to the Longmont Police Department at 225 Kimbark Street to assist Frederick police officers Ivan Perez in booking some items into property and evidence. Okay. I think that we've went through this one before too, but we'll just go ahead and do it just to be thorough. It says in the investigation, I contacted Officer Perez in the lobby of the police department, and he was holding a cardboard box with several paper bags inside. He advised he needed to use our dryer closet for several items. I escorted Officer Perez to the property and evidence room. Yeah, I remember that. It says he assisted Officer Perez in logging each item. He did not give details of the case, only stating it was for their recent missing persons case, which is Frederick Police Case number 16-6743. First item he took out was a white sheet, which had a substantial amount of dirt on it. Hold on just a second. I gotta say, I mean, some of the stuff is so repetitive as we get back here with this. And boo-boo. And let's see here. I dropped half a lifesaver on the floor, and I don't want it to get in my feet, because that's what will happen when I'm least expecting it. But I can't find it. It's just wonderful. Did you already grab it? Did you already grab it? Good. Okay. So, let's see here. It says that he assisted Officer Perez in logging each item, blah, blah, blah. First time he took out was the white sheet, which had a substantial amount of dirt on it. He put the dirty bag in a separate bag, draped the sheet in a drying closet. Drying closet, blah, blah, blah. We read all of that. That was literally, what did they do? Put a bunch of duplicate stuff in here to bulk this up? Because, yeah, this is all duplicate. We've seen this all before. Okay, now, in the evidence locker, it says, Longmont Police Department, Property and Evidence Report. In here, that went to the drying locker. And it says white blanket with dirt and red substance, and it says in parentheses blood. And it says dirt from a blanket, black bra, purple and white shirt, blue underwear. We know that later on, they stated that that red substance was not blood, that it was the discolored dirt, and on the white sheet, there was the amniotic fluid, which had a reddish tinge to it, and when it was put with the reddish clay dirt, it made it look like blood, but there was no blood in any of this. There was no bleeding from any of them. I know that one of the girls had the frenulum injury, but that wasn't even shown on the pillowcase from what we've seen so far. So there's misunderstanding where it says that about the blood. And this is about the property custodian, and then the labs here. And let's see that now this is where a lot of us have a lot of problems with. And because it is the blood alcohol concentration. I am among those that do not believe that this level of ethanol blood alcohol concentration could be from decomp. It says that ethanol is 128, okay? And it was from her spleen, from Shanann's spleen. Ethanol 128. And it says that the BAC and the blood alcohol concentration also gotten from her spleen blood was 0.128. So it takes that measurement and divides it down. Now, when she was recovered and she was not in the tanks, so you can't say, oh, there's something in there. No. By the time she was unalived to when she was recovered, we're talking 48 hours. Okay? There is no way. And there's people who say that there is a way, so I can't say there's no way. But there's a lot of us who don't understand this measurement and say there is no other way other than that she was drinking, allegedly. And then we go over here and it shows the detailed findings. And so what it says here is the ethanol was 128. The blood alcohol concentration 0.128. And it says ethanol confirmed, because that's either a no or yes. So then it says, other than the above findings, examination of the specimen submitted did not reveal any positive findings of toxicological significance by procedures outlined in the accompanying analysis summary. What that says, if you read through that, is it says this did reveal positive finding. Okay, it's saying other than this, there's nothing else. Well, okay, this is what, right? So then it'll say in here, and it says the reference comments, and it says ethanol, ethyl alcohol, spleen blood. Ethyl alcohol, ethanol drinking alcohol, is a central nervous system depressant and can cause effects such as impaired judgment, reduced alertness, and impaired muscular coordination. Ethanol can also be a product of decomposition or degradation of biological samples. The blood alcohol concentrations can be expressed as a whole number with the units of the milligrams or /dl, or as a decimal number with units of G / 100 milliliters, which is the equivalent to percent W / V. For example, a blood alcohol of 85 milligram /dl equals 0.85 G / 100 ml, or 0.85 blah, blah, blah. Now it says sample comments, and it says physician pathologist name Burson in the county of Weld. And it says, unless alternate arrangements are made by you, the remainder of the submitted specimens will be discarded within 1 year from the date of this report, and generated data will be discarded 5 years from the date the analysis were performed. Now it's saying that the certified scientist who ran this is William Schroeder. Now, it has down here, and I mean, they're saying that this is positive because it's in a separate thing, because down here has the other toxicology numbers. I've been so bothered about the blood alcohol. And they knew it was going to be bothersome. That's why they had like a special press conference about it. I remember that being separate. So after when everything was coming out, and then this was coming out, they had a thing and they were like, "Yeah, that's nothing to be concerned of. That's just from decomposition." It's like, no, it's not. It really isn't. But like I say, there's people who say it can be, so I'm not going to argue with them, but my opinion is there's something there that's not right. So what it says is the analysis summary and reporting limits. It says all of the following tests were performed for this case. For each test, the compounds listed were included in the scope. The reporting limit listed for each compound represents the lowest concentration of the compound of what will be reported as being positive. If the compound is listed as none detected, it is not present above the reporting limit. Please refer to the positive findings section of the report for these compounds that were identified as being present. Okay? And that's where the blood alcohol unit reporting area was. So, I mean, it says there's no amphetamine, there's no ephedrine, there's no MDA, and there's no MDEA, there's no MDMA. Okay? So there's no methamphetamine nor pseudoephedrine, phenylalanine, and pseudoephedrine, right? So there's none of that. Now, where we go back down, and it says the compound of acetone is at the 5 milligram, and it's isopropanol, and then there's ethanol, the methanol, and by spleen blood, and then the analysis by enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay ELISA 4, and it shows that there was none of the amphetamines, barbiturates, benzos, bupe, cannabinoids, cocaine. There was nothing there. There was no fentanyl, there was no methadone, there's no methamphetamine, there's no opioids, there's no oxycodone, and there's no phenylcide, whatever. The acetone is 5, the ethanol is 10, and the compounds are isopropanol and methanol. I don't know what to say about that other than this doesn't look right. Now, I'm going to stop because the next one goes into the autopsy body diagram, and I want to make sure that we start that one fresh. So I'm going to stop this one at this note here. And we got to 884 here, and I'm going to do a couple things here because we got here. So on Discovery, let's see, we went to Discovery page 995. So we went from 926 to 995, and we did pages 815 to 884 here for part 827. And I will look forward to speaking with you again on part 28. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye bye.